Hi everyone, I hope you're doing really well. I do understand why people would set the time aside to celebrate the Sabbath and why people would continue to want to please God in that way. I get it. I've just gone through Genesis 2, and I understand that it's a rest period for God as well from creation. And we're still in that rest period now, aren't we? It's only when God comes out of that rest period from creation then there will be some action from him, and that will be to deal with the enemies that will be queuing up. So I do understand and I do respect people if they want to continue with these Old Testament laws or forever laws, as it's been put. I suppose that is a good phrase to refer to them as a forever law, and I do get that. And that means that you're a better person than me. Far, far better. I just, I don't come up to that mark if you're adhering to all this. So I'm not criticising anybody. I think people should just do what their heart tells them at the end of the day. And I just know that I'm not capable. I'm not capable of setting the time aside each week after 62 years of being on this earth and never ever being involved with this kind of celebration, this Sabbath celebration, which I've always considered to be another religion's past and not mine. So it's difficult for me to suddenly completely change who I am. And that's what I'd have to do. I'd have to completely change. But as I said, if you're adhering to this, celebrating this, getting the time aside to get closer to the Most High, then you're just a far, far better person than me. And I just don't come anywhere near that. And I just want to be honest about that. So I respect what you're doing. It couldn't be easy for anybody to who's been a Jehovah's Witness to suddenly take up that lifestyle, that celebration and that remembering of the Sabbath and what it all represents. It must be so difficult to go into that. And it could be that as being in a Christian religion and believing that it was done away with, that you've got like a free checkbook to just do what you want. And that's my only argument, and is I just didn't believe that the God that I'd come to understand and know about in more modern times would want people to still be bound. Because I've always felt as if having a relationship or pursuing God was purely up to the person. You know, we were never forced to do it. If we wanted to be a Christian, it was because something in our heart had stirred us sufficiently to make us change our lifestyle and try and do the things that we thought that God would be happy about and pleased about, and then stop doing the things in our life that maybe he would find abhorrent. You know, I thought that it was all about putting on that new personality, the spiritual suit of armor, you know, to stop all the attacks from his adversary. All those attacks, all those distractions. And I thought that if a person was trying to have a relationship with God, that was enough, because I kept believing that you just had to love God with your whole soul, mind, strength, spirit, everything, your whole being. And I thought if you did that, you wouldn't be crossing over into badness the same as you did in the past. And at 62 years of age, to suddenly, for me, to completely, stop dead in my tracks and then take up this um, Sabbath celebration would be really, really difficult for me. It feels like an alien concept. So that's all I'm saying. But that could just be because I'm just not up to the mark. I'm nowhere near. I'm falling down there all the time. And so if you're doing this, then like I say, you're just a better person than me. And I've just got too much more area in my life to change before I could even get to that stage. So I definitely respect what you're doing, and maybe you are setting a great example for your families, for your children. I just know I can't. I just don't see myself as being like some of the religions of the past who still adhere to the old laws, the forever laws, if you want. I didn't think there were forever laws. You see, that was my whole point. Whether there's been some misconception um, and tainting of the scriptures thousands of years ago, and things left out deliberately like this, then I've just been falling prey to that deception. I guess I don't mind admitting if I'm wrong. Bloody hell, of course I don't. How can you learn, right, if you don't ask the questions? And how can you learn and change your lifestyle if you're pig-headed and arrogant and think you know everything and have all the answers? Well, you can't. You can't. You simply have to ask some questions. And if sometimes you get answers that don't sit well with you, I think you need to be honest. You need to say whether you can accept those answers that have been given to you. And I know I just can't. I just can't accept this. But I understand why God rested from all creation. But I also understood that Jesus gave an answer back to the Pharisees and summed up everything by saying, this is the greatest commandment, followed by love your neighbour as yourself. So I have that going in my head. I look back at the Old Testament and it gets a bit confusing because, you don't know, do you, if it's been tampered with, the scriptures, by nefarious means, players in the background who want to stop people from giving pure worship to God. So you don't know. You have some kind of inkling that maybe that's happened, but you don't know for sure. I just want to finish off by saying that you're a better person than me. Far, far better. And maybe I've got a lot more to learn. So, good luck to you all. If you're doing this, I really would like to know how many people are abiding by these Sabbath laws. It would be nice to know how many are actually doing it. Imagine if I found out that everyone's doing it but me. I would feel like I was in darkness if that was the case. If everybody was celebrating the Sabbath, setting time aside every week, fasting, and I wasn't, I would feel lonely, very lonely. I'd think, what's going on? who's blinded me. So yeah, if you want to help me at the moment, because I'm in a real crossroads with this, if you want to help me, tell me whether you're adhering to the Sabbath laws and any of the Old Testament, or whether you've moved on, whether you've just accepted that Christ gave his life and there's no need for any atonement sacrifices the way it used to be. It was just the acceptance of Christ's ransom sacrifice. Knowing that and accepting that, I thought was enough for a person to be saved, not to be bound by all these traditions of the past. But hey, what do I know? Thanks.